This is the 2020 Hyundai Santa Fe, and if you've heard a rumour that there's a new model on the way, well, you'd be right. But rumour has it prices are going to rise, so I thought it'd be worth taking one last look at the current model to see if it's worth picking up one of these before prices go up. Although it's just a little smaller than some of its other mid-size rivals, this car can actually carry 7 people, well, 5 adults and 2 kids anyway, in comfort but not including their gear at the same time. It has great road presence about it. I'm not normally a fan of these high-mounted driving lights, but here, unlike in the Kona, they do seem to work really well. We've got the main headlights down low here, and I really like this big aggressive grille at the front here. Under the hood of this top-spec Highlander version, we've got a 2.2 litre 4-cylinder diesel engine which outputs 147 kilowatts and 440 newton meters of torque and gives you a very respectable 7.5 litres per 100 kilometres. It's all-wheel drive, so if you're thinking of doing any off-roading, then this is definitely the one to get over the regular petrol version, which actually costs the same. It's got plenty of go, but the downside is that it does sound like a piece of farm machinery. In the back there's 547 litres of cargo space, which can be tripled with the powered rear seats down. Space is cut to just 130 litres with the third row seating up, and it's really only little kids who can fit back here. Standard safety equipment on the Santa Fe includes brake, lane keep and hill start assist, driver attention warning and smart cruise control with stop and go. On the inside, I think Hyundai have done a terrific job with this interior, especially the seating. These seats are on par with anything that you'd find from BMW or Audi. Very high-grade leather with quilted stitching, fully ventilated, both heated and cooled, plus lumbar support as well. It's an extremely comfortable lounge-like seating position, and the thought of doing a long road trip in this car actually sounds pretty good. The only thing that's wrong is that I've sometimes found that my seat will start sliding backwards all by itself while I'm driving, which is actually just a little bit dangerous and something I'll be reporting to Hyundai tomorrow when I return this car, because I don't think that's a feature, it seems like a fault. Lots of soft touch materials all throughout the cabin, up here on top and down low here, and some nice stitching. We've got a nice little cubby here on the passenger side, which is actually very convenient. A few hard plastics sort of from the waistline down, but they're not too bad. And we've got more soft plastics here on the center console. Very solid unit, doesn't move at all. Very little movement here from the center bin as well. Everything is just really well made. The center console screen is pretty much the standard 8-inch Hyundai unit that actually looks a bit bigger than it is because of the bezel around the outside. This unit is going to be replaced with a larger 10-inch version in the updated Santa Fe in the next couple of months' time. The software all works pretty much the same across the board. It includes Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The picture from the rear parking cameras and the forward parking camera are both razor sharp, and in fact the floating 360-degree parking camera is actually one of the best I've seen in any car. It's just really good at picking up all the details of what's around you, helping you to get in and out of those tricky parking spots. Under that, we've got the climate controls with dual zone air conditioning in this car, very easy to use. Beneath that, the heated and cooling seat options, plus the steering wheel is heated as well. A couple of USB ports and cordless phone charging. Down here on the lower console, we've got controls for the parking assist, the parking cameras, the auto hold for the brake, hill descent control and the drive mode control. We've got a nice deep center bin with a removable tray, and in front of me a heads-up display on the windshield which shows the speed and also the local speed zone, plus also gives you warnings about red light cameras, speed cameras and school zones. Here in the top spec Highlander version, we've got a hybrid digital analog instrument cluster, which is pretty similar to the one that you see in the new i30. Nice sharp graphics that change colors depending on which drive mode you're in. I think Hyundai have done a pretty good job of designing that. We've got a nice big steering wheel here for a car this size. It works very much the same as other Hyundai steering wheels, with the cruise control functions here on the right, phone and stereo controls here on the left. Some more buttons here on my right controlling the powered tailgate, the all-wheel drive lock and the lane keep assist, as well as some lighting options. Another great function of this car that I really like is when you open the door, you get a warning of any approaching traffic that is coming, and there's also a backseat alert, which can just remind you, just in case you might have forgotten that there might be a small person in your back seat, and just to make sure that they're okay before you get out of the car. Speaking of the back seat, getting into the back seat, my initial reaction is that there's actually not very much room back here, which is a surprise. But then I remembered that my driver's seat actually moves backwards and forwards automatically as I get in and out of the car to make it easier. So at the moment it's in its rear position, and that makes things a little bit squashy back here. But when it's in my normal driving position, there's plenty of room here in the back. It's not really a worry. We've got the same nice quilted leather here in the back seat. These seats are heated as well. A terrific view through the panoramic sunroof. I'd have to say it's actually one of the biggest ones I've seen in any car. If you want to cool things down a bit and need a little bit of shade though, we do have built-in window shades which go up and down not quite as easily as they perhaps should. A couple of ISO fixed points here for a baby seat and an armrest with a couple of cup holders. We've got air vents for the air conditioning and 2 USB chargers to keep the kids happy as well. On the road, it feels really good. There's lots of responsiveness from the engine and there's no shortage of power. The only thing I don't like is the steering, which in just about every mode feels disconnected and lifeless. Sport mode does add a little bit more feel to it, but I don't know, I don't like it very much. There's just not nearly enough feel with the steering. Visibility out of this car is fantastic. I'm in a really high commanding position. I can see right to the edge of the front, which is great. Good visibility out the back with a good size rear vision mirror. Interesting thing about this rear vision mirror, it actually has what direction you're heading on the compass on it. So north, south, east, west, southwest, that kind of thing, which solves the age-old problem of something that you see in a lot in movies. Oh, okay, yeah, turn up there and then head east for about 3 blocks. Okay, great, thank you. Which way is east? Now you know. It's very quiet in here too. There's just a little bit of engine noise from that tractor-like diesel at the front, but road noise is at an absolute minimum. The suspension was actually tuned here in Australia by Hyundai's own engineers, so we're gliding over every bump in the road. Not a lot of intrusion from the outside world at all. It's very relaxing in here. Now this is an SUV that actually does have some real-world applications in that it has a 2-ton braked towing capacity and also lockable all-wheel drive, which you can do with just the push of a button down here on my right. So that combined with its 440 Newton meters of torque from the diesel engine actually does make it quite a useful car to have if you're thinking about a bit of off-roading or doing some serious towing. Starting at $44,990 and about 20 grand or so more for this top spec Highlander version, the Hyundai Santa Fe comes with a 5-year warranty and is really good value. And in fact, you could probably pick yourself up a really good run out deal on one of these before the new model comes out.